we're at the mercy of there is no date. We don't know. And how do you know? And so
And apparently nobody knows.
communication is huge. Grace is necessary. And there's probably 1,000 other things that we probably should add to that list. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Airing of Grievances. My name is Reamer. It's Robert Grieve, and as always, it's a privilege to spend time with you here today. Some of you may have noticed that we fired off our last week's video just a little bit early.
Oops.
That's on me. I have been out of town over the last several weekends, and I got the job done a little bit early and didn't carry the one when it comes to the scheduling. I'll make sure Saturday morning, 9:30 a.m., we'll be right here chatting with you live, and we appreciate you for understanding.
And for all the people that tuned in.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
It has been.
I missed
good.
chatting with everybody, though.
It's true. It's true. Speaking of, if you haven't yet, go ahead and click that thumbs up button. That tells YouTube that this is something worthy of sharing with others. And if you're not a subscriber of ours, that costs absolutely nothing. We're grateful when you subscribe because, again, it's a key indicator for YouTube to know that this is valuable information. That being the case, happy Saturday to you, Rob.
My dear friend, we're back. It's good to see you, my dear friends.
Absolutely.
Type in a little hello or something. We're here for you.
Yes, we always appreciate your comments and your chat on the Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
All right, Rob, before we get into our main story today, let's talk a little bit about an update to a case. We brought a video several months back. In fact, I'll put a link to it up here.
Last year.
Yeah.
At some point.
And you actually went to court as an expert witness.
On that one, I wasn't an expert witness.
Oh.
I was just a witness to what took place.
Okay.
And I'm also an expert-ish.
So give us an update on that case.
Yeah, Friday evening, got home and got a text from the attorney that that our consumer, our guest, the case was found in her favor by a large sum of money.
Congratulations are in order.
So, and as a matter of fact, they played that YouTube video in court.
Yes.
And I testified to it.
Right.
And there wasn't very many people that could find anything wrong to challenge.
You know, we
make it simple for everybody.
That's right. We don't trump up the claims. We try to keep it on a level that is helpful and informative, sometimes entertaining. It's nice to know that somebody is in your court, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Right.
And we'll go long ways for our guests to help them get taken care of properly.
Yeah.
So
to get started on today's topic, Rob has kind of put together a question that will help focus our attention. So, Rob, the floor is yours.
So here you go. What does politics, foreign affairs, terrorism, natural disasters, and unions have to do with fixing your automobile, or how quickly it gets fixed, or anything at all when it comes to fixing your automobile?
This sounds like the beginning of a bad joke, and quite possibly you're not going to like the punchline, but it's not a joke.
It's not a joke.
And it is ripped out of today's headlines.
Yeah, so we went to Repair Driven News. By the way, it's very difficult to come up with something every single week. And sometimes I have to rely on my friends and their expert writing at Repair Driven News to get me started on something that I think is important for the public.
Absolutely. Teresa Moss wrote a great article, and we're going to draw from that here. I'll link that article in the description box below so that you can follow along if you're interested.
So the title is Two Shipping Disruptions Could Impact Supply and Cost of Parts. Well, we've seen this movie already,
2020, 2021.
and it looks like there's a lot of different factors that may be bringing us back for a rerun of it.
A rerun of pandemic-like delays.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying in and of its own. But what's going on?
Especially for us as repairers,
Yeah.
but mostly for you, the consumer.
Right.
You know, it jacks up our money and investment in parts when you can get 90% of them, but that 10% you can't get,
Right.
but you already own 90% to try to fix the car that you don't have all the parts for. And the ones undoubtedly that you need to even begin the repairs are the ones that you can't get. So it's just Murphy's Law.
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. So Teresa writes, attacks on cargo ships in the Red Sea and drought in Central America have disrupted shipping through two significant canals. The collision repair industry will likely see an impact on parts delivery and costs for several months, at least several months, she writes.
Right.
Add on to that, the next paragraph, the Iran-backed Houthi group has attacked at least 33 U.S. military, commercial, and merchant vessels since mid-November, according to the Department of Defense.
As unimaginable as that is, terrorism is alive and well on the high seas in the Red Sea these days, and it's disrupting everything.
Yeah, also in that Department of Defense news story, they say these assaults, notably the unprecedented use of anti-ship ballistic missiles, have significantly disrupted the free flow of commerce and navigational rights in one of the globe's most critical waterways.
Yeah, so I'm going to put up a picture here of the area in question. This is the Red Sea, and as you look at this, just up to the north side of the Red Sea is the Suez Canal. And anything coming from Eastern Asia, that eastern part of the world, trying to get over to America, especially on the east coast of America, typically goes through the Red Sea and in through the Suez Canal to get through. Otherwise, you got to go all the way around the very bottom of that African Cape of Good Hope, and it takes weeks.
And
Each
gas
direction.
and people.
All of that. Yeah.
Takes much longer. So we have the terrorism in the Red Sea.
Yep.
That's affecting the Suez,
It's effectively just shutting down all Red Sea travel.
which people are naturally not telling their ships to go through there.
Correct.
Because ships are expensive when they sink and the cargo, and or they get taken over and they're now hostage for God knows how much money. And again, all this adds time, and not to mention, people's lives at stake. And
Absolutely.
my God, that part just scares the hell out of me.
Right.
It's like that movie, Captain, with
Oh, Captain Phillips.
you get Captain Phillips
Yeah.
with Tom Hanks. I just see that thing in my head when I think of what I've read in here.
It's much like that.
Then we have the drought in the Panama Canal.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but the Panama, the area of Central America and South America has gone through record drought in the last year, in 2023, and this is causing them to back way off of their normal 36 to 38 ships a day.
I think they said half the traffic in
Yeah,
this.
yeah, they're knocking
cutting
it
out
down.
half the traffic going through the canal.
Right, which means then you have to go all the way around South America in order to get to where you're going, and that could add weeks' expense, all of that to the delays.
Is that enough, or is there more?
But wait, there's more, and not only that. We're gonna come back and visit what that means to us right here in Nylund, because we are specialists in Toyota and Lexus
Yeah.
products here.
Subarus.
But there's one more element to this story that, okay, those are the two canals that are being blocked and through natural disaster or terrorism. But then there's there's a union on the east coast of our country.
Longshoremen's Association has threatened to strike on the East Coast if labor agreement isn't reached in September. Yeah, there's not an agreement.
They want more
reached.
money, which is what happens on a regular occasion if you're in the unions and whatnot, right? This is how they get it. They say, we're going to protest, we're not going to work.
Yeah. So nearest I can make out, these two canals are generally used to go to the East Coast.
In large parts, yes.
And then add on to that maybe the longshoremen aren't happy and they're not going to unload them or do whatever they do, in an efficient manner. That again is going to add delays and additional costs.
It's the hat trick of disaster when it comes to supply chain. And what that means to you is buckle up for delays.
So I'll give you an example of, and I don't know if any of these things are affecting that, but I don't know that it isn't either.
Sure.
I have a dear friend in Georgia,
Okay.
industry pal,
Yep.
and she's got a Kia that is at a body shop there, and it needs a radiator support.
The thing that holds the radiator in
Yep.
place. in the
Yep,
car.
we've talked about them before.
Sure.
It's a very important part to the front of the car, and your airbag sensors are generally attached to it. It's an important piece.
Yeah.
So she needs a new one of those,
Yep.
and she calls me and she goes, "Rob, I don't know if I'm getting, some sort of crazy story from the shop, or if it's just them, dancing around my car, or whatever the case may be, but they're telling me they can't get this part. One part, can't get the part. Can you advise me?" And so I said, send over the thing and I'll look at it. We call a trusted source, and apparently she's not the only one with this problem. There's 800 other people that are in line for this part.
Wow.
And there are none. There are none. So these are parts made out of the country at another country,
Right.
and we have to wait for them to get loaded onto a ship and delivered. Now, when stuff gets delivered to California, it seems to be pretty free-flowing, other than they've got a backup there,
A huge backup since 2020.
and they're charging a lot of money, from what I understand,
It's ridiculous.
to drop off goods and stuff
Yeah.
out of the shipping, and there's still a backup there. But once it arrives there, they have to use trucks and trains to funnel it to the rest of the nation.
Yes.
Georgia's not so close to California, I don't think.
No, it is not. It's not even a one-day train ride. But here's the thing. I mean, all of these things create this trickle-down effect of one domino falls, the next one can't help but fall, and the next one, and the next one. And before you know it, delays show up at your expense. And that's the big issue that we're talking about here.
Yeah. It's for the last, I think, 2 years, I've been saying this is a horrible time to have a collision.
Right.
For so many different reasons.
Yeah.
And these reasons seem to keep, the parts thing kind of righted itself for the most part, but not completely. We're still, we had a Genesis we couldn't get a mirror for, and the mirror housed the camera for the 360 view, which feeds information to other
Sure.
computers and so on and so forth. So you really can't, and it was the driver's mirror.
Of course.
You can't
it is.
let the car out on the road without a driver's mirror, especially when it's communicating with the rest of the car.
Indeed.
So the car sat here until we could get that mirror. And, it's hard to understand. And just like my friend in Georgia, what kind of bull story is this shop telling me?
Right.
That they can't get the parts. So maybe they're just not working on my car.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and it affects all of us,
And we never know what that part's going to be until you order it.
right?
And then they look it up. And when we, put a not a fictitious, but, say, hey, we're checking on a radiator support for this vehicle, the guy typed anything is, oh my. And I'm like, right away, I know, okay.
Yeah,
But there's 800 other people in the same position.
right.
There's no release date. It's not like they're in the warehouse and we're waiting for them to get here and it should be 2 weeks. There is zero
Well, and that's,
release date to the people that need them.
we deal with this issue in many different levels, different ways. Even today, I saw an engagement with someone that thought maybe their car should move a little faster, and in the end, they want dates so that they can make plans. And while we completely understand that, we're at the mercy of there is no date. We don't know. And how do you know? And so
And apparently nobody knows.
communication is huge. Grace is necessary. And there's probably 1,000 other things that we probably should add to that list.
Yeah, well, first off, keep everybody safe.
Absolutely.
We don't want anybody hurt
Yeah.
in the shipping debacles that are going on.
Right.
But it was a very interesting article. It caught my attention, and just this week I had some personal experience with it, and I thought that this would be a great subject just to share that, patience is it's an important thing these days, and none of us have it. I'm the same way.
At least if you understand the circumstances behind what's going on, which is one of the reasons we started this series, is to show you the behind the scenes of what we in the industry, not just here at Nylund's, but the industry is dealing with, and what that means to you specifically.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what we have for today. I've got lots of irons in the fire for up and coming episodes. Some good stuff. Just can't talk about it yet. Just
Now you've piqued our attention.
Can't talk about it yet. We got to see how certain things flush out. And if I put it on a video, you never know what court it's going to land up in, or how it may spoil a case. Or
not the first time you've had your videos played in court. Won't be the last.
Yep. It's an interesting thing. So,
all right.
Happy Saturday, folks. Eric, happy Saturday to you. My dear friends, have an amazing week. I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care. God bless.